I'm Dylan Black. The Amazing People Gala is coming October 21st, Westin Hotel. We just chatted with Bruce Firestone. Another amazing person has been chosen, 40 in total. And you'll recognize this guy. Sean O'Leary is his name, a very loving dad who put a face and campaigned the opioid crisis. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. So you're probably best to speak about your story because it's an emotional one, it's a difficult one, and it's affected so many in our community. So tell us exactly what's gone on with you this year.
Well, it all started off basically on December 31st when I had a 17-year-old young man overdose in my garage, and we managed to save his life. And from that, I knew a lot of the kids in Canada were overdosing at the time, and I had never put two to two together. I mean, I grew up in Ottawa, and the only time I'd ever seen someone overdose was at a Supertramp concert in the early 80s. And I didn't realize that overdosing meant they were dying and then being brought back to life. And so I made a couple of calls, or one call right after, and I asked another young man, he's 17, I said, Cole, I said, I want you to send me a list of how many of your friends, of a list of all your friends, and check beside their names which ones have overdosed. And he said, Sean, they've all overdosed. And I was like, cool. I said, what do you mean? Like, when you say they've all overdosed, like, do you mean like Aiden in my garage, like dead and brought back to life? And he says, yeah, all of us, at least once. And I was like, I was stunned. I was like, how is this happening in Canada? You know, a fairly well-off suburb of the city of Ottawa, the capital of Canada, often rated as one of the top countries to live in the world. And so basically I ran around trying to warn people, and it wasn't going very well. And you know, you're trying to tell people that kids are dying and being brought back to life, and people kind of weren't sure whether I was...
Well, were people just not taking me seriously at that point? Or?
You know, no, because I don't think anyone, even I found out afterwards, even our city officials had not really put it together. I mean, I think we all realized there was an opioid crisis and fentanyl in BC, and we read the news, but I don't think anyone really thought that it hit home here in Ottawa. So I basically went through January, February, and Bell Let's Talk week, and I was very frustrated. I wrote a little post then, but I didn't put my name, like I didn't put it on my timeline, and kind of went, a few people read it and went by, and then a young lady passed away in Canada at 14 years old, and then that week she went to the same school as my daughters, and I went to the school, I think it was on the Wednesday, and asked them why they weren't telling us parents, or all the parents, of how she had died, and they said, well, confidentiality, and we need confirmation. And then Thursday I got the same story, and Friday I was frustrated. I said, well, if you guys aren't going to do something, I'm going to write an email, send it to as many people as I know, and try to get out there and have a meeting. And I wrote an email, and I sent it to 21 people, and one of them phoned me and said, Sean, do you mind if I put it on Facebook? And I said, well, I wrote open letter, so I said, I guess so. So he put it on Facebook, and I wasn't much of a social media person at the time, and it went viral. The next morning, Saturday, February 18th, I woke up and my iPhone was like lit up with so many messages I couldn't understand. So I ended up posting on my own page, and from that we've had a lot of people. My original email was to try to, I own a small furniture store in Canada, was to try to, I was hoping to get 10 or 12 other parents to meet with me so we could talk about it and see what we could do. And in the end, I had thousands of responses, and we ended up holding an event at the Canada Rec Complex. And I had to start telling people not to come because people were asking to come, and I was saying at first, sure, it's open to everybody. And in the end, I had to just parents of children who were struggling with opioid or substance use disorder, and we had well over 200 people in that room that night, and it's grown into, you know, we have an organization, We the Parents. I'm the executive director. We have a great board of directors like Steve and Natalie Cody. They lost their son about 3 years ago, and they'd been trying to get awareness going in the city, so they started helping me, and we've grown now to being, we're looking at opening chapters across Canada. We've had people
across Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, so We the Parents, what happens then now? Because obviously this is still an issue.
Well, yeah. So we've been working with focus groups with kids that are struggling, with other kids that are not struggling, and they're just their friends, and trying to come up with a program. So October 12th, we're having a follow-up gathering at Canada Rec Complex, and then we're starting in the Canada West Ottawa area of having smart recovery meetings based with pro-social activities for the kids that are trying to get themselves better. And then we're hoping that pilot project works very well, and then sort of go from there, from Canada, then Nepean and Orleans and across Ottawa and hopefully across Canada, because I think one of the things that we all have to realize in this country that we're all aware of it, thousands of people are dying from opioid or fentanyl overdoses, but I think, and our belief is, one of the best times to ever help someone in recovery or to enter recovery is when they're still a kid. You know, like when they have parents and they have stuff, because once you become an adult, you end up as being addicted or struggling with one of these disorders, is you end up becoming part of the marginalized community, and getting help at that gets much tougher. And you know, if you get into recovery as a young person, you have a time to live the full potential of your life. But as you increase in age, it starts getting tougher and tougher. I mean, we've all heard good stories of people that have turned their lives around, but it's a lot easier to do as a teenager or as a child. And so that's what our goal is. Well,
you've been selected as an amazing person so quickly. We're almost out of time, but I mean, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. It's you know, it's good because it brings awareness to we the parents.
Yeah,
I mean,
continues.
I got into this to help the youth. I'd been helping them, or trying to help them, because I've been chasing after my daughter for 2 or 3 years of her drug use, and then it sort of blew up into a much greater crisis than even I thought. So our biggest goal is to, I mean, there's many people that need help, but our focus with the parents is to get our youth as much help as we can get them, because right now the system out there is very lacking for them.
You're incredible. Thank you very much, Sean, for sharing your story. And of course, amazingpeople.ca, there's links to find out more about your organization.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
Best of luck on October 21st, the Amazing People Gala.
All right. Thank you.
Coming up on Daytime, the Ottawa Valley Button Club. Join us in moments.